Welcome back to University Bedford, where we are keeping you up to date with everything happening with the planned Universal Studios theme park and resort near Bedford. In this series, we are unpacking everything there is to know and learn from the planning application, the SDO planning application. We're currently in a period of public consultation, which means all of these documents are free and available to the public. So we'll be going through them one by one and seeing what we can learn. Yes, this will be a little bit nerdy, but that's why we're all here. If this is the sort of thing that does it for you, then make sure that you are subscribed, because we are going to be covering every little detail and you're not going to want to miss a single bit. We do weekly construction updates here on YouTube, as well as daily updates on YouTube Shorts and all of our other platforms. So now's the opportunity to get on board. Now, should we kick it off and move on to today's document? So the first thing we've got to do is go to the government website. And here we have it, the request for planning permission, entertainment resort complex in Bedford. That's the universal one. Now, if we scroll down, we go to documents, and we last time covered the cover letter. So let's have a look in that same one. Now, the next document is ownership certificates. Let's have a look at that. We might have to just skip past it and move on to the next. But for completeness sake, we will cover everything here on the channel. Right. So ownership certificates. There's a lot of redacted stuff here. There's not really much to talk about, is there? Everything's redacted. How about we move on to the next one, because that has nothing in it for us. Copies of notices. This is document 1.3.0. Okay. So under the Town and Country Planning Act 1990, notice of planning proposal submitted to the Minister of Housing and Planning. The locality is the land on the former Kempston Hardwick Brickworks, an agricultural land and broadly bounded by the A421 to the west and north, Broadmead Road to the south, and the Midland Main Line to the east. The organisation name, unsurprisingly, is Universal Destinations and Experiences, hereby known as UDX. Here's their description of the proposed development. Development of an entertainment resort complex and associated infrastructure comprising, here's a list, an entertainment resort complex including theme park, brackets, maybe more than one, amusement park, maybe more than one, and water park, maybe more than one, vista accommodation, vehicle hire facilities, entertainment venues, sport, recreation, leisure and spa facilities, venues with conference and or convention spaces, retail, dining and entertainment, cultural facilities, vehicle showrooms, associated services and uses for any operational or administrative functions, entertainment resort complex support, utility generation. So that could be some renewable stuff. We will come on to that in a future document. Storage, collection, treatment and processing facilities associated with the entertainment resort and complex, vehicle and cycle parking, maintenance and servicing and transportation hubs, access routes and circulation spaces, and landscaping. Number 2, roads, routes and associated infrastructure, including a new A421 junction and upgrading and realignment of Manor Road. Number 3, an expanded Wixams railway station, railway crossings and transportation hubs with associated services and infrastructure. Number 4, related utility infrastructure. And number 5, construction related operations and uses. It's been submitted to the Minister of Housing and Planning on behalf of Secretary of State for Housing, Communities and Local Government. And it's signed. And that's the end of that document. Let's go on to the next. We're on a roll. This one could be interesting. 1.4.0, Guide to the Planning Proposal. This is the guide that we'll be using over the coming episodes. Okay. There is even a contents to this one. So this one's obviously a bit more of a meaty document. So let's start with the guide to the planning proposal. So we've got here that it's been prepared on behalf of UDX, Universal Destinations and Experiences, seeking permission for an entertainment resort complex. The departments who are involved, which is the Departure for Culture, Media and Sport, Department for Transport, Bedford Borough Council, Secretary of State for Housing, Communities and Local Government, will be making a planning decision. The site is located southwest of Bedford. We covered that earlier. We've covered what the planning proposal is going to be with the infrastructure. Now here's an interesting one. 1.4. The planning proposal also safeguards land for a potential new railway station on the proposed East-West Rail Bletchley to Bedford line, should this come forward in the future. There's been a little bit of toing and froing between East-West Rail and Universal. In fact, let's see if we can get some of that up here. EWR, Universal, Bedford news. All right. So here's some of the stuff which has been going on of late. So East West Rail submitted just recently some information about their proposal, their plans, and they didn't mention Universal at all in it, which is a little bit weird. But Universal, as we've just seen in 1.4.0, have accommodated EWR in their planning proposal. So there's a little bit of a kind of a conflict between these two at the moment. It will all be resolved. It's just admin. The purpose of this document is to be a guide to help MHCLG and interested parties understand the planning proposal through signposting of the documents that make up the planning proposal. So this is interesting, right? This is actually going to give us the information about every document that we're going to have a look at. So Table 1-1 Master Document List. Part 1 is Introductory Documents and Drawings, and it contains introductory documents and drawings provided to support the planning proposal. Part 2 is chapters on the environmental statement. This provides environmental information and an assessment of the likely significant effects of the proposed development, as well as a description of the proposed mitigation measures. So we're talking flooding, we're talking about wildlife, we're talking about all of those sorts of things, as well as traffic in that section. Number 3 are figures on the environmental statement. So this is kind of the facts and figures that back all of that up. Number 4 is the appendices of the environmental statement. So again, those are kind of like the contextual basis documents that feed into and include the facts that feed into kind of the ultimate statement. Number 5 is a non-technical summary of the environmental statement. So it basically takes the environmental statement and puts it in normal people speak. So we will get to that. Ironically, we'll get to that after we've digested the technical side. So we'll be experts by that point. Number 6 is other documents. So this will include supplementary documents submitted by Universal in support of the planning proposal, such as site-specific development protocols, infrastructure plans, environmental management strategies, and other relevant technical information. That is going to be interesting. That's going to be where a lot of the juicy stuff is. So if you're not already, subscribe now. You're going to want to be a part of that. List of documents. So we've got Appendix 1, and that identifies the documents produced for the submission by Universal. It's got the whole list. Now, here we have kind of who's going to be responsible for the development, because obviously it's going to be a collaborative effort between Universal up here National highways with the A421 junction, Network Rail in the Wixams train station, and the work going on with the Manor Road level crossing as well. Now, Universal have said that they're going to be providing oversight for all of the works and will be involved in all of it. However, when it comes to the actual doing, obviously the specialists at National Highways and Network Rail will be involved. But Universal will be providing the comprehensive development strategy from conception to completion, and they'll be ensuring quality and consistency by setting standards for development and overseeing the implementation to create a cohesive, high quality project. And will manage the complexities of delivering a large scale development, such as obtaining planning approvals, licenses and consents, implementing site-wide habitat creation and mitigation. So basically, it's all coming under the umbrella of the universal planning application, rather than kind of, this is just for the resort, and then there'll be another one for the train station, then another one for the A421 slip road. So the reason for that is simplicity. It's so that it's all under one umbrella, and it's so that Universal can create a kind of quality control so that every visitor and local stakeholder has a positive experience. So, as an example, from the moment that a guest exits the highway at the A421 or steps off the train at Wixams rail station, they will have a high quality visitor experience. This type of world-class ERC, entertainment resort complex, is only delivered in the theme park market by Universal and the Walt Disney Company, and is demonstrated by the entertainment resort complexes in Florida, Osaka, and Hollywood, which are all owned and operated by UDX, and an entertainment resort complex in Beijing, which is operated by UDX. So they're saying, we've already done this before. You can trust us to do it again. Now, a lot of this bit here in number 23 is about how the concept for this park and resort is largely based on the definition of the complex and resort that they have in Florida, in Orlando. So over in Orlando, the resort complex is defined as a proposed theme park together with other uses such as retail, dining, indoor and outdoor entertainment, cultural and sports venues, visitor accommodations and recreational facilities, associated services, operational, administrative, storage, blah, 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 utilities, landscaping. And all of that has been designed for this proposal from their experiences in Florida. So we've got a dependencies table, which we'll be coming on to later. That's going to be about kind of what happens after the decision's made. How do we go forward? But all of this is saying that Universal are going to retain creative control over the whole process. So it's not like we're going to get a super ugly train station, because Universal want the train station to be reflective of the resort experience. So all of this is going to be leveled up to the highest standard. When we get to part 6, we're going to get into a document called Design Standards, which has a lot of information in it, all about what to expect from the development, what Universal are aiming for. Broad brushstrokes, nothing specific, but things like how high the maximum development would be, how tall, how many meters above ground level, the scale of all of these developments. And then very carefully, very helpfully indeed, we are also provided with an acronyms and glossary, which is great because there are going to be a lot of acronyms in here. We've already had ERC, MHCLG, UDX, you name it, we've seen it, right? So there is absolutely no way that we can go forward without knowing what those mean. Now we've got here all of the specification for all the documents we're going to cover. I'm not going to read them all out because we're going to get to all of those in due course. But what we have here is confirmation that the entire project is going to be of the highest standard. It's not just going to be great once you walk through those gates into the theme park, or you stay at the hotel, or you have dinner at City Walk. Universal want the experience to be a top quality one from the moment you get on that slip road off the A421, from the moment you disembark from the train at Wixams. You name it, Universal are going for the highest quality experience from the moment that you arrive to the moment you leave. Now tell me, are you excited about this? What document here are you most excited about? What piece of information are you hoping that we can unearth? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to follow us here and subscribe for all the latest. And I will see you very soon with the next deep dive installment into the documents.